What's up, everybody? It's 8:30. Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I'm Mistress Carrie. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Congratulations. Ooh, God, I'm having an issue here. My hair is not cooperating. I got one that's itching my face. I'm having a hard time over here. Welcome to number 80. Woo! 80, 80, 80. What's up, Drea? Hey, Honey Ange. What's up, Dave? Hey, Vinny. Hey, Joe. What's up, Layla? Hey, Honey Jean. Jamie. Thank you very much. Love the shirt. We'll tell that story. Hey, Mickey. Saw the order for your t-shirt. Pam, what's going on? Hey, Karen. Hey, Jen. Hey, Jeff. I feel like we're watching Zoom. Remember when we were kids? I see Tracy and Monica and Mark. Remember that show, Zoom? Zoom, when we were kids? If you didn't grow up around here, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about and you just think I'm crazy. That's all right, though. Wore your shirt to work today. That is awesome, Lisa. So I don't know if you guys saw my post. Oh, shit. Here comes the little one. Hi. Do you want to come say hi to everybody? Did you guys see my post late night last night? So come here, Wednesday. Come say hi to everybody. Oops, she's wound up today. Here comes my co-host. So when we got done last night, I waited till midnight and I shut the links down to buy the Cocktails in the War Room t-shirts. We sold over 750 friggin' t-shirts. I can't say we. You guys bought. All I did was pack them up. Yeah, 750 plus t-shirts, give or take a few. I think it's about 760, 765 actually, which is just unbelievable. Romper Room, she never called my name. Is that what it was? Hold on. I was a minute late tonight because Karina sent me this bottle of limoncello and it had all of this crazy wrapping. Wednesday, what are you doing? Say hi to everybody. And I was trying to find a knife in the war room to pull the wrapping off because I thought tonight, with everything going on, tonight's a limoncello night. So strap in and get ready, kids. Hello. What are you doing? Do you want to say hi to everyone? Give me that monkey. Give me the monkey. Come here. Come on. Sorry if I'm making your dogs bark. Cheers, everybody. We made it to 80. 765 t-shirts, 80 straight nights in the war room, one psychotic 2-year-old pug kicking the ass of a monkey back there. Give me that. Give me that. It was Romper Room. Okay, sorry. I thought it was Zoom for some reason, but Romper Room. You guys know what I'm talking about. Didn't they look through like a tennis racket that didn't have like the stuff? Wednesday, tell them. I have so much to tell you guys, but this is happening, so you're going to have to give me a minute. Really? Wednesday? So we made it to 80 days here in the war room, and it's the 1st of June. And 2020 is now almost half over, and it still sucks. And it's getting more and more fucked up all the time. Like, I'm kind of afraid to get to October. Like, I'm afraid to get to my birthday, which is why I wore a Halloween shirt tonight from 1993. AAF used to make really cool Halloween shit. Seriously, this was our listener appreciation party. I was an intern. I believe that this was the Halloween party in Lowell where Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones threw and broke like a $5,000 microphone, and then someone ripped seats out of the floor of the Memorial Auditorium, and they were trying to make AAF pay for it, and then they were going to make the Boss Tones pay for it, and it was crazy. My grandfather's bakery actually catered the dressing rooms for all of the bands, And I think it was the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Give me that. I Mother Earth, My Sister's Machine. There were just all the, if you guys were there, put the bands up. I'm pretty sure, I know Wednesday is winning right now. She's totally kicking my, you put the heat on, Becky? Come on now. I have orange nails that glow in the dark, says Lisa. Yeah, Killer Puppy, love Wednesday today. Give me that. Why are you so wound up now? Why? Oh, seriously. She was so quiet all day. Tim says they actually rebooted Zoom in the early 90s around the time that you guys moved to Guest Street. We didn't move to Guest Street until 2000. We were in Worcester until 90. Ow, shit, she just bit me. She didn't mean it, but my hand was next to the squeaker. And then they moved to Westboro. That was 92, I believe, 91 or 92. No, 92, because I started my internship in 91. And then they moved to, so they moved to Westboro in 92, and then we moved to Huntington Ave in 99, because I did the last broadcast in the Westboro studio on Friday night. Me and Ian got drunk and trashed the place at midnight, because they flipped the switch for Saturday morning in the building in Boston. And then we were on Huntington Ave for a little over a year until the Guest Street studios were built, because that building was brand new, and dedicated it in 2000. And then, of course, moved to Leo Birmingham, and then... Yeah, I don't know what... She's got her jewelry on, by the way. See, she got her little glittery Wednesday tag that says, please return to Mistress Carrie on the other side, that we got in the post office box. Thank you very much. I did not have a chance to go to the post office box yet, but I will go tomorrow, just in case you guys sent something that Mike Shue needs to have, because Shue's going to be here tomorrow night. Okay, so let me tell you everything that's been going on. Really, Wednesday? So last night I totaled up the t-shirts. T-shirt Brian has the order, and it is in production. Do you want to hang out with everybody tonight? I can't wait for Shue to get here, because he thinks that pugs look like flaccid penises, and I just want Wednesday sitting on Shue's lap tomorrow night. Cannot wait. Wore the t-shirt out on the bike yesterday. Nice, Tom. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you're happy with it. Looking for computer help in the war room, says Pam. Well, so here's what happened, Pam. Funny you should mention that. Hi. Do you just... Seriously. Remember all those nights I tried to coax her to come in here and hang out with you guys? And now she's like, this is my show. I'm going to eat the monkey and make everyone look at my butthole on the internet. Are you done? Or do you want the monkey some more? So, remember I told you guys that I was talking to my friend Dave, whose 103-year-old grandmother chugged the Bud Light on the internet after kicking coronavirus's ass? So he had to delay everything because his grandmother became internationally famous, which is just unbelievable. And I was talking to him about it today. He's like, everywhere I go, people are talking about my grandmother, and they don't even know she's my grandmother. And now everyone's asking me about her. It's insane. So anyway, I spent 3 hours talking to Dave today. And tomorrow night, as you guys may have noticed on this page, there is an event for live Cocktails in the War Room with Mike Shue tomorrow night. And we created it with the newfangled technology that I got going on for the War Room. So I believe that tomorrow night we are going to be able to launch the new and improved Cocktails in the War Room, because I'm going to have the computer up here. We're going to have a second camera. We're going to have logos and theme music and multiple camera angles. We're going to go from looking like a high school kids television production to looking like a college kids television production tomorrow night. And it is going to be amazing. So, Ryan Seacrest talked about her on the TV show this morning. That's my buddy Dave's grandmother. It's insane. Dave's grandmother, Jenny, she's world famous now. So it's hilarious. So anyway, so I spent a lot of time talking to Dave today, and not just about his awesome grandmother, but also walking me through a lot of the technology stuff. And I really wanted to be able to launch it when Shu was here, because I want you guys to get excited about what the War Room is going to become. So tomorrow night, in case, you missed the announcement, is the last nightly Cocktails in the War Room. So technically tonight's my last solo one before Mike Shu comes in tomorrow night. Then Cocktails in the War Room becomes a weekly show that we're going to be doing the same way we always have. And we will have the ability to bring in people digitally. So I'll be able to bring in guests, and we will also be able to have cameras set up in here, which I know Ian is very excited about because he's been yelling at me about doing camera stuff. And, as things get less and less restricted because of the coronavirus, we'll be able to have guests. And, because it's only once a week, it should be pretty easy for us to have pretty awesome people in here. And if not, then it'll just be us like it's always been, which is also good too. But I'm super excited about what it's going to look like. And I got to work on some lighting stuff and procuring some camera stuff. But I was playing around with it a bunch today. And so I'm just letting you guys know that as of right now, everything seems like it's working just fine. Is there a possibility that you guys are going to come into the War Room at 8:30 tomorrow night and nothing's going to fucking work as planned? 100% that could happen. Worst case scenario, Mike Shu and I are huddled in front of my cell phone like I'm doing right now, except it'll be the two of us. But I'm really hoping to get all of the new stuff working because I'm super excited for you guys to, I would like to see Carrie doing camera stuff. Really, Sean? To really be able to see what we can make this thing. Can you guys imagine if Cocktails in the War Room ended up like a television show? Like on Netflix, or one of the networks picked it up? Can you imagine? I don't think I would ever stop laughing. And at that point, I would be paid to drink. Like literally paid to drink. Like right now, I'm just volunteer drinking because right now, this is just a hobby. But if it became my job that I had to drink in the War Room, best job ever. So we'll see what happens, but I'm super excited about what it's going to be, and I'm excited that you guys are excited. But it's going to be kind of weird. So the way that I set up everything, we'll still be able to read all your comments. I did want to warn you guys that tomorrow night, when you guys are commenting, we'll still be able to see them, but because we're using a third-party set of software to stream on Facebook, you guys might get a weird prompt before you can comment for the first time, basically saying like, yes, I'm aware that, Ecamm, which is the software that we're going to be using, is running this feed or whatever. It's like they have to notify you that there's a go-between you and me and Facebook. So don't think it's completely weird, like that's going to be part of it, unfortunately, but otherwise it's going to work the same way. And it's going to give me the ability that once we do the War Room thing, that I'm going to be able to put the videos up on YouTube, which is awesome. And from what I've been told, it's not going to be long before I'm going to be able to stream on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, which will be great because there's a lot of people that don't have Facebook. There's a lot of people that are starting to think that Mark Zuckerberg is Satan, and they're deleting their Facebook pages. And so I want to be able to go, sorry, I'm pouring another limoncello. I want to be able to go wherever you guys are going. So if you're not going to be on Facebook, I want you to still be able to come to the War Room. And so we're working on expansions. Sammy will sponsor you to drink. Well, there you go. No swearing. You could join the talk and hang out with Sharon Osbourne. Oh my God, can you imagine? I actually, way back, sent a packet in to try and get on The View. I mean, I'm talking like 15 years ago. Because I was like, come on, man, you need somebody cool on that friggin' show. And I just wanted to be able to sit across the table from Barbara Walters because I thought that would have been unbelievable. But obviously, I didn't I didn't get the job. Was this equipment very expensive? Not really. And the fact that I'm going to be able to use it for a bunch of different things, like think about this. Like say I was backstage with some bands. I could set up this stuff fairly quickly and we could just jump on live. Like I'm telling you that even though I'm promising you that the War Room's going to be like a once a week thing, every once in a while the War Room might have to go on deployment. And we might have to take the War Room out of the War Room. And we might be able to do a War Room remote. Or maybe go to other people's War Rooms. Or maybe travel around the United States and check out other War Rooms or other places and do cocktails in the War Room on the road. We'll be able to do all of that kind of stuff. So I'm super, super excited. If I can just get it to friggin' work, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm so used to having like really smart people that for the most part knew how to fix the broken stuff at the studio. And now, hit up Mark Cuban. There you go. And now I kind of have to know how all this works myself. So I was on a very long conference call today. And you know what? Heidi, you are totally right. Mocktail Monday just went left. I am so sorry, but I've had such a crazy ass day today that I grabbed the limoncello without even realizing that it was Mocktail Monday. I was just so excited that it was 80 days that we had been in the War Room that I totally forgot that today we weren't supposed to be drinking. I'm really sorry. Now I feel like a shit because the whole point of having Mocktail Monday was to support the people that join us in the War Room that don't drink and to try and support them through all of these stressful times and to encourage their sobriety. And here I am opening up a fresh bottle of limoncello and what the hell? Are you going to videotape your podcast like Joe Rogan? I am working on it. One thing that Joe Rogan does not do is he very rarely, I think he's only done it once or twice. He did it with Edward Snowden and I think one other person. He very rarely interviews people that do not come to his studio in person. I'm not going to have that hard, fast rule because I'm so used to having to interview bands and stuff that are out on tour that it's not going to be a requirement that they join me in the studio. I've actually spent a lot of time and some money as well getting software to be able to record people from wherever they are. So there will be videos of podcast interviews for sure, but I haven't come up with exactly how we're going to do that if I'm interviewing people that aren't in the room with me. So it's going to be a learning process. Joe Rogan didn't launch podcast number 1 and have it look like podcast 1500. It grew. I'm pretty sure podcast 1 for Joe Rogan was like recorded into his mobile phone. So you guys are going to have to give me a little bit of growing room and breathing room, but yeah, that's why I started the YouTube channel because I know that there's going to be a lot of video stuff. The traveling War Room, exactly. Like, make it the original Shirley Temple Tuesday suggestion. There's no way I'm telling Mike Shue he's got to drink Shirley Temples in the War Room tomorrow night. It's just not happening. Does Maynard have a War Room? He probably does. He was in the Army. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a War Room. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a bunker. So there's a lot going on. Now I feel like crap that I'm drinking limoncello right now. I really, really, really don't want people to think that I'm not supportive of your struggle with sobriety because I was reading an article today that says that 1/3 of Americans are dealing with clinical depression and anxiety right now. 1/3. That's over 100 million people because of everything that's going on. Is your podcast going to be on your new website also? Yeah, it's going to be embedded in the website. There'll be a player, but the link for the podcast itself is already up, and then you can just go and subscribe and download the episodes on whatever podcast carrier you use. So if you use Apple, it's available on Apple. If you use Google, it's available there. If you use Spotify, it's available there. It's available on Stitcher, Deezer, radio.com, TuneIn, Overcast, Pocket Cast, all the casts. It's everywhere. Jason, you got here late. We sold 765 shirts, which is just insane. T-shirt Brian is printing them as we speak. He got the order late last night, and we're working on it. Carrie, you're fine. Things do slip our thoughts. Yeah, but you know, I'm trying to be supportive, and especially with everything that's going on. We thought that the coronavirus was just going to be what was stressful in 2020. Like, I didn't think we were going to be dealing with rioting and looting and threats of a revolution and a military takeover and Mass is going to have a rough week drink away. I talked to a lot of my friends that are cops. A lot of them were posting stuff about what was going on last night in the city. And I've been reading a lot of stuff, and you know, it's a lot of craziness. Like, I don't think my brain can handle the mental gymnastics that are required for some of the things that are, like, you need to be Mary Lou fucking Retton to do these mental gymnastics. I looked at a picture last night of a white woman screaming in the face of a black cop. And my mind went to like 17 different things because I was like, okay, first of all, everyone's worried about the coronavirus and you're not wearing a mask and you're screaming in another person's face. Second of all, you're protesting that police don't look at African Americans as humans, because if they did, they wouldn't kill them. That's your argument. And here you are standing 1 inch from an African American officer's face and you're screaming at him, which, if someone did that to you on any other normal day, Brenda, you'd call the cops on them, which is kind of ironic. And then you're doing the exact same thing to that officer that you're accusing the officers of doing to other people. And somehow that's okay. Like, already I'm doing back handspring, front handspring, round off, cartwheel. And then I'm thinking to myself, is that the definition of white privilege? That a white woman can yell in the face of an African American police officer? Because if we're worried about the police departments being the old boy club that don't represent the community, that are just a bunch of old white guys that are gunning people down that don't look like them, then wouldn't the number one way to combat that be to diversify the community policing force? And especially by having African American police officers on it. Then I tried to imagine a man at like a Me Too rally yelling in the face of a female police officer, or just any woman in general. And then I started thinking just how crazy all of the things that were going through my head sounded. Because I was like, wow, does this white woman have a right to be more angry about racial tensions and inequality in the United States than the African American police officer she's screaming at? Point your toes on the dismount. Perfect 10 from the German judge. I mean, the mental gymnastics that I just had there, like, I don't even know how to make sense of all of that in my head, right? I don't even get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense that the 54th Regiment Memorial in Boston that commemorates a volunteer all-black military regiment was defaced. Mental gymnastics. Like, this is just so fucked up to my head that I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not educated enough to understand the intricacies of what is required to dissect racial tensions in the United States. Maybe the purple hair dye has seeped into my delicate, small-minded brain, and I just can't grasp it. No, maybe not. I don't know. And then, is it down in Tennessee that they arrested a white supremacist that torched a famous courthouse? I think Mark Morton was tweeting about that today. Hold on, I need a drink. I'm really sorry to everybody about failing you on Mocktail Monday. You guys got to give me a mulligan on this one. But I'm just watching all of this stuff like, then I'm watching the president say that he's going to deploy the military if the governors don't start doing a better job. But last month, he was telling the governors they were on their own when it came to combating the coronavirus with PPE and equipment. 2020 is so weird, I don't even understand it. Like, I'm saying things out loud and seeing things on the news that I'm just like, did we literally go into that parallel universe that we talked about? Which is another one of the crazy 2020 headlines that no one even acknowledges anymore. UFOs, parallel universes. How do we score the t-shirts? You had to get them before last night at midnight. Or you're just going to have to wait for the new Cocktails in the War Room line of merchandise to come out later on this year on my new website that we are building now. Take your top off. Nice job, Michael. Way to... I just don't understand... I don't understand everything that happened last night. I watched this older black woman cry today. I believe that President Obama actually referenced her in a post that he put up today. This poor older woman was crying because she doesn't drive and she lives in a neighborhood where there was only one supermarket. And now that supermarket has been burned and destroyed, and she doesn't know how she's going to get food now because she can't go anywhere else to get food, and it basically destroyed her neighborhood. I don't know. I feel like we're in a bad Twilight Zone. Yeah, exactly, Amanda. Like, I want to age backwards. Yes, humanity has jumped the shark in 2020, says Jim. 100%. Like, it's just so crazy. And it really got me thinking that, like, it really got me thinking that I'm really starting to worry that the ability to look at things pragmatically and look at them from an elevated view, analyzing all the moving parts and trying to have common sense, like, that whole thing is just out the window now. The 2020, the dumpster fire continues. Like the governor said, we need compassion from our leadership and we aren't getting it. Don't get me wrong. I've said this in the past. There isn't a political party in the United States that wants me because I am so in between both outer edges of our two political parties that my stances don't mesh with either hardline platform. And so there isn't a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican that agrees with how I feel about a lot of things, that I am one of those independent voters that everybody tries to win over in the 11th hour before an election. And so I'm not trying to make a political statement because I don't have an allegiance to either one, because I feel like common sense has literally gone straight out the window. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, what's going to happen now? I saw a picture of a friend of mine who's a police officer that somebody took standing on the sidewalk last night in downtown Boston. And he's just standing there and he's got all of his, he's got his jacket on and whatever. And he's just standing there in front of a wall that's graffitied that says, "Fuck the police" behind it. And I was like, okay, there it is. There's my buddy. There's the wall. It's just crazy. We're living in fucking La La Land right now. Let's see, Travis. There is compassion, but not for criminals who are looting and terrorizing fellow Americans. Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that I really believe that a lot or most, if not all, of the people that are doing the terrorizing, I really do believe that there's a lot of people that are trying to undermine the actual message of why people are marching. I mean, take, for example, what happened in Tennessee. You guys can look it up. The courthouse it's a historic courthouse And it was a 3%er. It was one of those white supremacist guys that set it on fire. They arrested him today. So there is evidence out there that these crimes are being perpetrated by extremists that are trying to taint the message of the peaceful protest that happened all day yesterday. And terrorizing fellow Americans is happening on both sides of the aisle. We've crossed over into the parallel universe. Yeah. Dave's grandmother made it to live with Ryan and Kelly today. I know, Christina, somebody was just talking about that. It's just insane that think about this, right? So we're all thinking 2020 is the most batshit fucking crazy thing on the planet, okay? Think about Dave's grandmother. She was born in 1917. She was born before the Depression. She was born... I mean, look at everything that woman has experienced. Seriously. The wars, the conflicts, the bread lines, the rioting, the protests, the presidential assassinations, the scandals, the stock market rising and falling multiple times. I mean, think about what Dave's grandmother has gone through. If you think we've seen some shit, look at what she's seen in 103 years. No wonder she chugged the Bud Light after she recovered from the coronavirus. Like, no wonder she did. It's unbelievable. Computers, the internet. Like, Dave and I were joking today because I was asking, sorry, I'm scratching my face, but I was like, Dave, does your grandmother have any kind of concept as to how famous she is? And he was like, no, she doesn't understand why when we all get together, because he told me that she's a real ball buster. And if you knew my friend Dave, you would understand where he gets it from. And she always just thinks that when everybody's sitting around the house on their mobile phones, that they're playing video games, because that's the only thing you do on your mobile phone, is she's always yelling at all the kids. And he's like, I can't even try to explain Twitter to her, right? And I said to him, I was like, Dave, can you imagine if somebody tried to explain Twitter to us 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago? We would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? Twitter. Huh? If you had told me 20 years ago, in 2000, when I was on the air at WAAF, like before 9/11, before all of this, when I couldn't believe I had an email address that said at WAAF, we had one computer that got on the internet in the building. If you had told me that I'd be live streaming on Facebook from a war room, I'd been like, what? It's insane how far society has come in some respects when you really think about it. Like, the Crew Dragon guys are up on the International Space Station right now. Like, there's so much that has happened that is amazing, that has driven humanity forward. And then you look at some of the crazy ass shit that's happened in 2020 and you go, no, let's take a couple steps back. Let's not rush it now. We were still learning how AOL worked. I know. Oh, some people will never know the pain of the dial-up. Like, it's with dial-up. Exactly, Daniel. 2030 will be interesting, says Eric. If we make it another 10 years, it will be very interesting. I mean, seriously, are we just going to be, coexisting with aliens out in the open by that point? 2020 feels like The Purge, says Emily. It really does. Like, remember when that movie came out and you were like, The Purge, like that would ever happen. And now you're looking at The Purge going, I mean, would you give up 24 hours of complete lawlessness to live the rest of the year with no crime? Kind of doesn't sound like a bad idea. I mean, it's insane that it's even a thing, that you could even but it is. It was like watching The Purge on television last night, like for entertainment, which really bothered me too. And I'm not going to trash the media for covering the story because I am the media. And I am going to stick up for the right of the media to be able to cover whatever it is that's going on. because I hold the responsibility of the freedom of press so high. I mean, it's right there. Like, they did press first, and then they did guns under it to defend it. But like, there's press, and then there's guns right here. The press is here. So I value the fact, especially as a woman, to be able to speak my mind and report things. And, you know, I've done that, and in war zones on multiple occasions where I was very aware that if I wasn't an American woman surrounded by soldiers, that I would not have the rights that I was exercising in that moment. So trust me, I'm aware. But it felt a little bit weird watching it on TV last night, like it was a movie. And like disconnected in a way that like the violence can almost not be real because it's only on television. It's like not a real thing. Then you talk to people that were really there and you're like, oh no, wait, these are real people. Like, these are real human beings having things thrown at them and being shot at. And it's just really, really weird. The whole thing. Oh, that's a funny comment. Hold on. Newsflash, Gen X would totally lose that game. Rodney, I don't know, man. I'm Generation X. I think we're pretty kind of badass. We've been put through some shit. Cooped Up is a good movie for quarantine. Oh, great. Channel 7 had vehicles and personal property damaged. I saw all of that. The world is so fucked up now, unfortunately. It happened outside my apartment. I know, Mark, and a lot of people were wondering how you are doing. So can you kind of let everybody know that you're doing okay? Yeah, it's all very strange. And like I said, I feel like, and the only reason I'm talking about it, I'm not trying to preach and tell you how to believe or what to feel or how to think, because that's not my place here. I'm trying to rationalize the fact that there's so many conflicting messages coming from all sides. And there's so much hypocrisy from all sides. And I'm just trying to figure out whose side I'm on. Because you've got rioters that are fighting about racial injustice, but they're burning down businesses owned by African Americans and screaming at the black police officers. But then you've got white people causing a lot of the problems in the riots, like that woman screaming in the cop's face. And I'm like, is it really your place to yell at the African-American cop, though? White lady? I'm trying to imagine me doing that, and I was like, fuck no, I ain't doing that. Me getting up in a black cop's face and yelling at him about the racial discrepancies in the United States? Huh? Does that make any sense? No, not to me. It does. Strange days, most peculiar. Yeah. It's very weird. It's very, very strange. Stayed up watching live YouTube streams. Violence isn't the answer. The pandemic was one slap in the face, and now, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. Some of these small businesses that I think were holding on through the coronavirus, just barely, maybe with those PPE loans and some of the unemployment matches coming from the federal government. And now, like, how do you even structure? Can you imagine being like a bar or restaurant owner and you're already putting in insurance claims because you haven't been legally allowed to open, and then all of your windows get smashed and you get looted? And how do you even try to go about getting to your insurance and being like, okay, we lost this much money because of a global pandemic, and then we lost this much money because of race riots in the street, and like, before you just go, I can't. And how many businesses are we going to lose because of it? How many first-time small business owners? How many minority business owners are going to lose their businesses over this now? And that's the stuff that I'm just so confused. Which is why I'm so glad that Mike Shu's going to be here tomorrow night, because I've said it many, many times. He's one of the smartest people I know. He's the smartest person I've ever worked with. And maybe he can explain it to me in a way that I, in my stupid, small, purple brain, can understand. Mark says the Walgreens down the street where I get my prescription was looted. Yeah, I actually saw that on TV last night, Mark. I'm really sorry. Although that's a lot of pressure to put on Mike Shue for him to try and explain to me world events right now. That might be a little much. Think the riot spread the corona disease again? I mean, how could it not? So around the country now, we're going to watch in the next couple of weeks what happens with all of the coronavirus cases. And then we're going to be right back where we're started. Donna says their insurance rates are going to skyrocket. I know. It's insane. It's insane. And I'm not, Amy says, please stop being distracted by the looting. I'm not being distracted by the looting. I 100% understand that there are problems. I, quoted the Chris Rock quote last night that there are some professions where you're not allowed to have a few bad apples. Chris Rock, in one of his recent stand-ups, talked about pilots and how you can't say most of our pilots like to land, but, a few bad apples like to hit the mountains. Like, it's 100% true. Like, we can't afford to have the old boy network mentality when it comes to law enforcement. And they need to be trained, and they need to, they need to do their jobs correctly. But that woman that got charged with 4 counts of attempted murder for throwing a Molotov cocktail in the police van with 4 police officers inside, the 2 people that were arrested with her were passing out bombs, and they're lawyers. So if we're going to hold cops accountable and say there can't be any bad apples with police, there sure as fuck can't be bad apples with lawyers who literally it's your job to go into a courtroom and abide by the law. You're a lawyer. That you've literally, the lawyers are supposed to follow the law better than anybody because they've spent the most time studying it, right? Or do I have it wrong? Like, I've seen some memes that were like, how do we expect police to know more about the law than lawyers when lawyers go to school for 8 years and police go to school for 6 months in the academy or whatever? Well, they arrested 2 lawyers for passing out bombs in New York City. They're fucking lawyers. Upside down world right there. Like, again, mental gymnastics my brain just can't do. I don't understand it. So if we're going to hold them up, speaking of law enforcement, if we're going to hold them up to the standard that there can't be any bad apples, I think airline pilots and police officers are the place to start, but I think there's some other professions too that we're going to have to go. You guys kind of don't get to have any bad apples either, like lawyers handing out bombs or judges that tell women who were raped to close your legs and then you won't get raped. Like, let's make a list of the professions where you're not allowed to be a bad apple. Cops are at the top of the list, 100%. But there's so much craziness going on in the world right now. It's insane. And I don't know about you guys, going back to what I was saying, where they've done some research that 1/3 of Americans are suffering from depression and anxiety right now. Like, everybody's looking for a place to escape to, right? Like, you want to there's so many people that are watching like the most ridiculous stuff on Netflix because they just can't watch the news anymore. And I know that you come into the war room a lot of time because you're just looking to get away from all of it. But there's also this thing where I'm like, I've been cooped up in the fucking house for 80 days. You guys are the people that I talk to about this shit. If I can't talk to you guys about it, who the hell else am I supposed to talk to about it? Like, I'm starting to feel like I'm being gaslit. Like, am I the crazy one? Is the world normal and I'm just over here going, blah? I don't know. At least you guys make me feel like I'm not alone in thinking that it's all fucked up. Like, I'm not, yeah, like Laura says, clergy, teachers, lawyers. Yeah, like, there's professions where politicians, yeah, Heidi says the MR8 Foundation helped clean the graffiti. That's the best thing I've ever heard today. Think about that for a second. The family of Martin Richard, who was killed at the bombing of the Boston Marathon in 2013, started a foundation in his memory. And they've raised money. And what did they do today? They went out and cleaned up the city. How amazing is that? Like, how beautiful is that? How unbelievably thoughtful and caring for a family that was affected more by the marathon bombing than any other family. They lost a member of their family. Their daughter lost her leg. Their mother lost, I believe, sight in her eye. The father, I believe, is deaf in one ear now. And their other child is traumatized because he was there too. I mean, how much can one family endure? And what did they do today? They took the memory of their son and they went and did something beautiful. It's like, just when I start thinking that the world can't come back from the abyss, you say something like that about the Richard family and it makes me go, okay, maybe there's hope for us after all. Like, it happens that quick, right? That you go from thinking that there's no way that anything could be good, and then all of a sudden you go, but maybe there's hope. You know? Am I the only one that... Those are the things that should be focused on in the media. Well, the media's job is to talk about everything. Do they focus on the negative too much? 100%. But it's not like they can't ignore the bad, and they shouldn't be ignoring the good either. Trying to wrap my brain around all of it, and it's exhausting, says Kimberly. Yeah, exactly. Like, remember the story I was telling you guys about the other night about the guy that goes for walks around his neighborhood with his dog and his daughter? I guess there was another gentleman that had put up a similar post. I don't know where it happened, but I saw the video of it today. So an African-American man had put up a post about how he is also kind of afraid to go out walking through his neighborhood by himself because he's afraid that he won't come back. That either people will call the cops on him or, you know, whatever. So remember when I said last night that we should all leave the war room and try to be 5% better people today? So you know what his neighbors did when they found out that he put that post up? They all showed up outside his house and went out for a walk around the neighborhood with him, with baby carriages and dogs. And the neighbors were a diverse group of people, all races, genders, age groups. I don't know about creeds. You can't really tell someone's religion just by looking at them necessarily. But they took a walk around the neighborhood with him. And I was like, well, there you go. You're 5% better of a human being today because you did that. Like, that's what makes me go, okay, maybe it's not the purge after all. Hey, Jacqueline, it's okay. You're late. You're good. You can be late. So I look at stuff like that and I go, okay, well then maybe it's not that bad. You know? And I look at it and go, you know, every night a whole group of us gets in here and we talk things out. Actually, I talk, you guys type, but you know what I mean. And it just, you know, when this all started, and I mean the coronavirus, when I say this all, I'm meaning the war room and kind of all of that stuff. I kept saying that I hope when this is over, meaning when the virus was kind of over and we were allowed to start going back out again, that we would all be proud of how we handled ourselves in this era, in this moment in time. Sorry, I just hit the squeaker on the floor. And what I find really interesting is that all of these videos that we've been making in the war room, like, they're going to exist long after all of this stuff is happening. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, like, these videos are going to be around somewhere. And I'm curious how Mistress Carrie 10 years from now is going to look back on these videos and look back on all your comments and, look back on the news and all of the notes that I've taken in my, war room notebook. And like, I'm really curious how, in hindsight, that 2020 perfect vision that you get years later when you look back at something. And I'm just really curious about how all of us are going to look back at this past 80 days or 3 months or, Michelle says there's fireworks going off. Where are you, Michelle? Where are you hearing? Like, what are we all... What are we all going to think about what's going on? Daniel says the music industry is doing a blackout day tomorrow, encouraging people to disconnect and spend time with your, I'm assuming, family and loved ones. I've seen a lot of people posting about that. And I think it's fantastic that they're doing it. But I'm not going to give up the opportunity to sit down and talk to Mike Shue about everything that's been going on in the last 3 months by blacking out tomorrow. It's not that I don't... Ooh, there's a moth. It's not that I don't believe in what they're doing. I think it's important, but I could really use sitting down with Mike Shue with you guys tomorrow. So I'm not blacking out the war room tomorrow night. I did see all of that, and I'm in Worcester, and there are fireworks going off. Well, stay safe, please. I don't know what those fireworks mean, but I know that Worcester had a very peaceful protest yesterday, and I hope that if they're protesting right now, that they are being peaceful as well. The entertainment industry has been blacked out for 3 months. I mean, Brad, and it has been. And but I don't know. I really have been looking forward to having Mike in here for us to kind of be able to talk. And it's, I'm not saying, oh, tune in tomorrow night. Mike Shue and I are going to have a really hard discussion about everything that's going on. But Mike Shue is like the only other person that understands what it's been like to go through everything that he and I have gone through in the last 3 months. Like, getting laid off together, losing a place that we both worked for over 20 years, going from being someone that was considered essential to being unemployed, being sequestered, with the virus, and then with everything else going on. Like, he really is, how like you look at your sibling and you look at like crazy things that have happened in your family and you're like, okay, my brother is the only person that understands. Like, I only have one sister. And like my parents' divorce and all of the other things that have happened in our life, like, she's the only other person that really understands because she's my sister and she's my only sibling. I look at Mike Shue like that. Like, he's my family, and we worked together for so long that I feel like he's the only person that it would be possible to understand everything that's going on in my crazy ass purple brain. Like, he's the only person that could make sense of it if it's at all possible. Mistress Carrie is like the last and first person in the War Room podcast. Well, no, because the War Room's not going anywhere. I mean, those guys the Breaking the Ice podcast did come in and hang out in the War Room before I started doing the video stuff. And he is coming in tomorrow night, but the War Room will be back next week. Like, we're not going anywhere. This is going to be a thing. So stop acting like tomorrow night's the last episode. Did you guys just lose me for a second? It said that the network connection got lost for a second. You'll also be glad to know that I ordered a really fucking long Ethernet connection, and I am hardwiring the War Room as well. So the internet is going to be kick-ass in the War Room as well. But So to go back to your comment about how the music industry is blacking out tomorrow, that's why I decided not to black out the War Room tomorrow. Not because I don't stand with all of, my fellow music industry people, but technically I don't work in the music industry right now because I don't have a job. But I really want to sit down with Mike Shue tomorrow night. I feel like I've been waiting to go see a counselor, and now I finally have a counseling appointment tomorrow, and I ain't giving it up. Yep, you sounded like you hiccuped, said Melissa. No, it wasn't a hiccup. It was a weird network burp or something. Keith, she needs some me time with her new boyfriend. Who are you talking about, Keith? That's awesome that the War Room isn't ending. No, it's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We will be back next week. See you next Tuesday. You can't cut us off like this, like an addiction. We need to be weaned off this War Room. You're not getting weaned off. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to change it up. I hope you guys really like the new production value. Now, you also got to understand that I'm doing this all myself. So if you're like, I told you already, it's going to look like a college kids television production as opposed to a high school kids television production. So, don't expect, a media conglomerate out of the War Room at first. You got to give me some baby steps. But I have had extensive conversations with Ian, who, is just waiting for me to call him about cameras and lighting, and, he'll probably be rigging shit out of the ceiling if I let him. So trust me, there's a lot of, oh, you need time with your boyfriend. Yes, but he's not my new boyfriend. We've been together for years, Keith. I'm not going to get too much into it. I've talked about my boyfriend a little bit, but there's a lot of privacy things that I need to protect. Not only because there's certain parts of my life that I don't want to talk about too much, because it's incredibly hard to be in a relationship with someone who constantly talks about all your shit on the internet. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but also because of the nature of his job, I can't really talk too much about him. But we've been together for years, and I haven't seen him in months because of everything that's been going on. The military's not allowed to travel. Things up here have been crazy. And, how would you guys feel if you didn't see the person that, is your glue for 3 months through the craziest fucking time in your life? You would want to go and spend a few days with them as well. So, PSA, Millennium Cabaret in Bedford, New Hampshire is partially open, says Ron. Insane. He's new to us. Not really. Hey, Stitcher, all you need to do is subscribe, click the link, click the check mark. You just go to Stitcher and yeah, however you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast, wherever. Just go into whatever platform you use and look up the Mistress Carrie podcast and click subscribe. And you can download the trailer right now because that's up there right now. Thank you, Kathy, for being happy for me. Thank you, Jacqueline. Can we give him a cool code name? Ooh, maybe. We'll have to come up with something good. I want to confer with him, though. Because if we're going to give him a code name, I want him to be in on it. I don't want him to get some fucked up nickname that he hates, and then every time he hears it, he wants to punch himself. If we're going to come up with a name for him, I want him to kind of be in on it. So, Mark says, I loved it when you called him my Marine. Well, that's what he is. You deserve some loving in your life, honey. Well, thank you very much. Don says, social distancing lap dances. You will be my first podcast that I listen to. I'm so excited. Thank you, Ash. I appreciate that. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Grace says, I can't wait for that one. Right? I don't know. We'll talk about it this week. David says, I understand OPSEC, being prior military myself, so you can understand. Thank you. Narco 2. No. He's not going to like anything like that. Just, guys, listen. Do you want a nickname because of your woman? Seriously? No, you don't. You don't want to be called Mr. Mrs. something. Like, you just, none of those things. If he doesn't like it, he drinks. Yeah, exactly. Does he have purple hair? Come on now, guys. Seriously? This is exactly why, you know, this is the kind of stuff that makes it hard for women like me to actually keep a guy in their life, because it becomes boyfriend cobbler. Oh my God, you guys are fucking killing me. He's going to hate this so much. The purple people eater. Really, Scott? You guys are killing me. Call him Captain America. Captain America was Army. He wouldn't like that. Major Lovin. He's not an officer. You guys are killing me. This is exactly why. God, I'm going to hear about this tonight, just so you guys know. You guys know who I'm talking about. That's all you need to know. He ain't a captain cobbler. That's Afghanistan producer Mike right there. Yeah, he's a Marine. Purple hair isn't allowed. Thank you very much, William, for being the voice of reason in the war room right now. No Cheez-Its in the war room. I know, right? Maybe I'll reenact the Cheez-It thing with Mike Shue tomorrow night, so I can show you guys the visual of how you never go full Cheez-It. Like, you never go for the Cheez-It ever. Jeff says, as long as you're happy, I'm very happy. It's nice. Just don't call him a pogue. Oh, he ain't a pogue, Mike. You know. You know. Amanda says, my hubby's nickname is Moose. Well, there you go. Does he watch this? Kim wants to know. Wouldn't you? Yeah, he does. Ron says your boyfriend's a very lucky man. Well, I hope he's reading that right now, Ron. Thank you very much. Full Cheez-It, says Dave. Yeah, exactly. So that is why things are changing with the war room this week. Not only that, but, you know, I'm getting ready to launch the website. The podcast is getting ready for the first episode. There's a lot going on, and, you know, it's going to be harder and harder to be in the war room every night at 8:30. So we're going to make the war rooms not as frequent, but more awesome. So there you go. Shit, we're in trouble. Yeah, Monica, you are in trouble. Does he ride? Heidi says. What do you think? Heidi, come on now. Semper Fi, go full Cheez-It on Wednesday. See, you know what the best part of this whole thing is? That you guys are in on all the jokes now. The blueberry cobbler jokes, the Cheez-It jokes. Like, you guys understand now. So it's like you guys know all the lingo. Like, we're going to have to teach Mike Shue all this stuff tomorrow night. Thank you, Debbie, for apologizing to him. I appreciate that. My father's call sign was dedicated in the USMC. That's very cool. What the hell are we going to do every night at 8:30 now? I don't know. But once a week at least. And it's not just going to be once a week all the time. Sometimes it's going to be more often than that. Kuda1 is my boyfriend's nickname. You can always have emergency news conferences. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's 100% what's going to happen, is that there's going to be stuff that's going on. I'm going to be like, I can't wait till Tuesday to talk to these guys about it. And then I'm going to hit up Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and be like, guys, get in the war room. It's time. Also, your podcast is my first. Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate that as well. And now, as people are going back to work, hopefully, you'll be able to listen to the podcast in the car, and it'll almost be like you are listening to my radio show again. Except I can say fuck, which is going to be great. Let's see. I drive a semi, and I've been listening and watching this for ages. Guess I'm going back to my iTunes after tomorrow. No, because you're going to have the war room. You're going to have the podcasts. You're going to, trust me, dude, you're going to have plenty of me. The Blair Dick Project. Yeah, that's right. Blair Dick Project. I'm so glad you guys know all the stories. And you don't even know all the stories. You just know a lot more stories than you knew before. Okay, so Somebody just said, don't forget about the bag of dicks. Mike Shu's going to love that. I didn't eat all the bag of dicks. I saved bag of dicks for Mike Shu tomorrow night. How do we hear your playlist? Okay, so on the Facebook page, if you scroll down to last week, I made a playlist while I was packing up t-shirts, and I make them on Spotify, which is free. And you should be able to just click on the playlist link and listen to all of the songs that are on it. My first podcast, awesome, Eric. That's fantastic. So I'll be putting up a playlist every day as well. Maybe Mike Shu and I will come up with a playlist tomorrow night, a War Room playlist maybe. So we'll do that tomorrow too. But it's on Spotify playlist. So I'll be putting up a playlist for you guys every week. So think about it. You're going to get the War Room every week, the podcast every week, the playlist every week. Like, you're going to have plenty of stuff to listen to in that semi. You're going to be fine. I can see it now. Yeah. Hopefully Shu does a bit of homework for tomorrow. Come on. Shu's a professional. He's smarter than I am. He knows what the fuck's up. Let's see. Yay. Shu and a bag of dicks. Yahoo. My cell phone's dying. Gotta go. Bye, Dave. I know. Mine's going to die pretty soon too. Put one on a swizzle stick and put it in his drink, says Mickey. Hilarious. Hey, by the way, we need to cheers you guys if it's your birthday before we get out of here. You guys, if you're celebrating your birthday today, cheers to you. You're celebrating your birthday with Morgan Freeman, Pat Boone, Ronnie Wood, Alanis Morissette, and Brandi Carlile. So it's a pretty mixed bag right there. So happy birthday to everybody. Disc golf before the War Room tomorrow. Most likely Ron, that's exactly what he's going to be doing tomorrow. Suzanne says I'm a newbie at podcast. Suzanne, it is made really easy depending on what kind of phone you have. If you have an Apple phone, you can go right onto the purple icon that says podcasts and just search for the Mistress Carrie podcast. And then when it comes up, just click subscribe. If you have an Android, you can go onto Google. It's there as well. If you've already downloaded the radio.com app because you listen to WAAF online, you can just search the Mistress Carrie podcast on the radio.com app, and it's right there. If you use Spotify to listen to music and stream music, you can search for the podcast right there. There's a link to my podcast that has all of the links of all of the different places, and it's soon to be coming to Pandora and iHeart as well. So if you guys use those apps, you can listen for it there as well. I charged my phone earlier, well prepared to hang out with everyone in the Mistress. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate that. Mike is the tiger of disc golf. He really is. He's kind of gifted. It's scary. I've never used a podcast either. Well, Brenda, you guys are all coming in. Come on in. The water's fine. You're going to be good. So just go to wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And if you've never listened to one before, like I said, if you have an iPhone, that's the easiest thing, is to go through Apple. There's a purple icon that comes on your phone with your iPhone. You don't even have to download it. That says podcasts. It's purple. And just click it and search the Mistress Carrie podcast, and you will find it. Have Shu narrate your life story when you hit it big, says Ron. I would like to have Morgan Freeman narrate my life story, as long as Sandra Bullock plays me in the movie. I think she would look hot with purple hair, but that's just me. And we kind of look alike a little bit. Like, I feel like if I had to look like any celebrity, I would kind of want it to be Sandra Bullock. I think she's way more pretty, but I would want her to play me. And with purple hair, I think she would be hot. Happy Pride Month to everybody as well. Thanks, Wendy, for the reminder. Today is June 1st. So happy Pride Month as well. No, the guy that does the Mayhem commercial should. Oh, that's pretty funny too. Yeah. That guy was on the Dennis Leary TV show. Remember the show that he did before the firefighter show? He had a police show for like a season or two, and that guy played his brother, the Mayhem guy, who's also hilarious. Roberta says it's my first podcast too. You guys are awesome. Is this what it feels like to take virginity? Interesting. Richard Simmons. Oh my God. Yeah, Sandra, she'll be awesome. Exactly. I want Louis Belcher narrating my life story. Got my shirt this weekend. Love it. Thank you, Jennifer, for ordering it. 93.7, 104.1 say they are WAF, iRadio.com. I don't know what that means exactly, but there's only one WAF. There will only be one WAF. You can't try and redo it. There's only one. James Earl Jones narrating everything sends chills down my spine. Seriously. The guy's got pipes for days. It's also on the app Podcast Addict. Oh, it is? It's up there too? Fantastic. Throw it all up there. I want Ozzy as a narrator. Mike, you wouldn't understand anything. I hope you're staying safe, Carrie. It's crazy out there. I am, Jerry. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love. Everything is okay right now. Sent you my first tweet today. Congratulations, Melissa. I love it. Taking virginity is a little better. All right, Dave, I'll take your word for it. So guys, we made it 80 days. Seriously, can you believe it? 80 days we've been hanging out here in the War Room. You'll always be my first podcast. Thanks, Tim. So tomorrow night, 8:30, Mike Shue is joining me live in the War Room. Expect some changes. Expect it to look a little different. Please be patient if it doesn't look right away, or if we have some unexpected technical difficulties tomorrow night. But spread the word. Make sure we get the big War Room family together tomorrow night, because Shue's going to be here. And I really want to throw him into the deep end of the War Room pool tomorrow night. So put your shirts on, pour yourself a big giant glass of something cold, and make sure you're here at 8:30 tomorrow night, because it is going to be one for the ages tomorrow night. Everybody, please stay safe. Please try to be 5% better tomorrow than you were today. Please try to lead with love and hope and empathy and understanding. I know it's really hard right now for everybody. Everybody is hurting, and everybody feels like they're hurting more than everyone else, but we're all hurting together. And so we just need to really try to do everything we can to support each other the best we can. We are going to make it through this, but the only way we're going to make it through is to acknowledge the problems that exist, figure out a way to work through them together, and to be as understanding and as loving and empathetic as we can be. And that's the only way this is all going to work. So just please lead with that. No matter what you see on the news tonight or tomorrow or anything between now and 8:30 tomorrow night, just really try to be hope-filled and calm and loving in the next 24 hours. Deep breath. Don't lick anything weird. Wash your damn hands. I will see you guys tomorrow night with Mike Shue, and Wednesday. Tomorrow night here in the War Room. I love you guys. Stay safe, please. Deep breath, everybody. We could really use it. Take a deep breath. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.